In today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet your very own adorable plushie. This is a pattern written by Natka's Crafty Corner. I am so sorry if I've said your name wrong, and feel free to slaughter me. I would say this is a beginner pattern because we only use single crochets, increases and decreases. All the limbs and the ears and the tail, everything is sewn on, so it's more just about your confidence in placement of sewing. It's a very simple pattern, and I would love to see how your one turns out. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials, more videos, and so you don't lose this one. You need a pink, some double knit white yarn and some double knit black yarn. You're going to need a needle, a 4.5mm hook, your stitch marker and some scissors, some 12mm safety eyes, and you will need some stuffing. So we will be starting off with the head, and we're going to make a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it for round 1. We're just going to get our thumb and our ring finger. We're going to make an X over our first 2 fingers, turn our hand over, and you just want to hold it here like this. So you should have an X on this side and 2 straight lines on that side. You want to go under here and pull this piece through, so you should get a capital A if you turn it this way. Then you want to just turn your hand upside down, pull this loop through here, and that is how you do a magic ring. Then you want to untangle the bottom, and you should have a nice circle right here. So we need to do 6 single crochets into this magic ring. So first thing we're going to do is a chain, just 1 chain, and that counts as our first stitch. So we have 5 more stitches to do into this magic ring, and we have to do 5 single crochets. So we're going to insert our hook into the middle. We're going to pull up a loop, so you should have 2 on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and that is how you do a single crochet. So we're going to do 4 more of those since we now have 2 stitches. So this will be our 3rd stitch, our 4th single crochet, 5th single crochet, and 6th single crochet. Then we just untangle that and pull our magic ring nice and tight. And you should have 6 stitches into your magic ring. Onto round 2, we're gonna do 6 increases. So you're gonna end up with 12 stitches at the end. So you're gonna find your first stitch. Moving on to round 2, we're going to do an increase in each stitch around. An increase is just 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So I'll show you how to do that. You're going to find your first stitch. You're going to do a regular single crochet. We are going to attach our stitch marker so we know where the first stitch is. You want to go through both loops. And then in that same hole, right there where I put the first stitch, we're going to do another single crochet. So what that does is it turns 1 stitch into 2 stitches, and at the end you should have 12. So we're going to just do that in every single stitch around. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So you should have 12 if you want to count each stitch. Moving on to round 3, we're going to do an increase, and then we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to do that 6 times around, and you should end up with 18 stitches at the end. So we find our first stitch, do a single crochet, then we're going to add our stitch marker in, and we're going to do another single crochet in that same stitch. So that was an increase, and now we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So an increase in the next stitch, then a single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and then in the final stitch we just do 1 single crochet. So you should have 18 stitches around if you want to check. Now moving on to round 4, we're going to do an increase and then 2 single crochets. Again, we're going to do this 6 times around, and at the end you should have 24 stitches. So we're going to find our first one, do a regular single crochet. I'm going to increase, so we're going to do a second one in that same stitch. Then we're going to do 2 single crochets. So in the next 2 stitches, we're going to do a regular single crochet. So this is 1 single crochet and then a second single crochet. and then increase. So we're just going to do that all the way around. 1, 2, and then an increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase. 1, 2, increase, and then our last 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. We should have 24 stitches all the way around. Moving on to round 5 now, we're going to do an increase and then 3 single crochets. So we're going to do our first stitch, join that stitch marker on, do a second stitch in the same place, and then we're going to do 3. So 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. Increase in the next stitch, then 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2, and 3. Moving on to the next round, we're going to do a single crochet in each stitch around. So you should have 30 single crochets already, so we're just going to do another 30. So we're going to do our first single crochet, add our stitch marker in, and it's just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and in that final stitch, 30. So moving on to round 7, we're going to do an increase and then 4 single crochets, and we're going to do that 4 times. So we're going to do our first stitch, join that stitch marker on, then we're going to do a second stitch in that same hole, so we've got an increase, then we're going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to do an increase again, so increase, and then 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, increase, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're now on the last one, so we're going to do an increase again, and then 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. Then we're going to do a single crochet in each of the rest of the stitches, so we should do 10 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. My camera just went funny, so I hope I didn't lose any footage just then. So for the next 3 rounds, for rounds 8, 9, and 10, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So we're going to do that first single crochet, join our stitch marker on, and then we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. Since you've got the hang of it, I'm going to speed it up and we will meet back just before round 11. Here's how you should be looking after round 10. You should have a nice little dome going on, and we're going to move on to round 11 now. For round 11, you do just want to make sure your previous round 10, does have the correct stitch count, so 34 single crochets, 34 stitches around, because it is important for the next round. So the first thing we're going to do is a decrease. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to pull up in the front loops, so I'll show you how to do that. The front loop, you want to go through the middle, get this in focus. This loop behind my hook is the back loop, and this one is the front loop. So you want to pull up a loop only in that front loop, go into the next stitch, the front loop of the next stitch, pull up a loop again. You should now have 3 loops in your hook. It should be in the front loops. You can actually see the back loops right there. We're going to yarn over and then pull through all 3 loops. What this does is it turns 2 stitches back into 1. So we're going to add our stitch marker back on, and then we're going to do 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then we're going to do another decrease again in those front loops only. Pull up a loop in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through 3. Then we're going to do 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then we do another decrease, front loops only again. Then we do 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then we do a decrease again, and for this last bit we're just going to single crochet in each stitch, so it would be 7 single crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Next we will add in our safety eyes, and we're going to put them between round 5 and 6. So to count the rounds, you just want to count each ring. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you want it to be between these 2 rounds, and I'm just going to go to the side and I'm just going to pop it in a random stitch, doesn't really matter which. And the pattern says to do 11 stitches apart, so you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So then you want to go into the next stitch. So they should now be nice and straight, and that is 11 stitches apart. And you just want to make sure both sides are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and it's between on both sides. So then we can just close these up, make sure it's on nice and tight. So you're going to insert your hook, and we're going to move on to round 12 now, which is a decrease and then 3 single crochets. I'm going to do that 6 times over. Your final stitch count should be 24. So we're going to do a decrease, remember in those front loops only. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets. So that is 1, 2 and 3. Then we do a decrease, then 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, and our final 1, 2 and 3. Moving on to round 13, we're going to do a decrease and then 2 single crochets. We'll do that 6 times over, and you should have a final count of 18 stitches. So we're going to do a decrease in that first stitch, put in our stitch marker, then we're going to do 2 single crochets, so 1 and 2, then a decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, and our final 2 stitches, 1, and 2. So for round 14, onto round 14, we're going to do a decrease and then 1 single crochet. Again, we're doing it 6 times over, and you should have 12 stitches at the end. So we're going to start off with our decrease. We'll put that stitch marker in, single crochet, decrease, 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 and our final single crochet. And we are going to stuff this head. Not too firmly. You're going to insert your hook back in, and for round 15 we're just going to do 6 decreases all the way around to close up that head. So we're going to do our first decrease, add our stitch marker back in, and this is 2, oops, a bit too hard, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to leave a little tail. Slowly pull this through if you can. And that's our head done for now. Next we'll be making the body, but I want you to repeat rounds 1 to 5 of the head. I will have timestamps in, and I'm also going to have the timestamps in the description if you want to just jump there quickly. So I'll meet you back at round 6. So here's the end of round 5. You should have 30 single crochets around. Moving on to round 6, we're going to do round 6, 7 and 8, and they're all going to be single crochets. So 30 single crochets, 1 in each stitch around. So I'm going to do the first single crochet, join that stitch marker on, and we're just going to single crochet all the way around. But since you've got the hang of this, I'm just going to speed this up for you, and we'll meet back at round 9. Now moving on to round 9, we're going to do a decrease and then a single crochet. I'm going to do that 6 times, then we will do 12 single crochets. So let's start off with our decrease in those front loops, and then through all 3, join our stitch marker on, and then we're going to do a single crochet. So that was 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you should have done decrease and then single crochet 6 times over, and in these last 12 stitches we are going to do single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. On to round 10, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. Should have 24 stitches. So I've just done that first single crochet, join in on my stitch marker, and we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So you should have 24 stitches. Moving on to round 11 now, we're going to do a decrease and then 2 single crochets 6 times over. At the end of this round you should have 18 stitches. So we'll start off with our decrease, join that stitch marker on, and then 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, and our final 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. You should have 18 stitches around, and for round 12 we're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch around. So this is the first one, join that stitch marker on, and just a single crochet, now we're moving on to round 13. I'm going to do a decrease and then 4 single crochets, and we're doing that 3 times over, and we should end up with 15 stitches at the end. So we'll start off with a decrease, again join that stitch marker on that first stitch, and then 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we decrease, 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Should have 15 stitches around if you want to count it, and for round 14 we're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch around once again. So we join our stitch marker to that first stitch and just single crochet all the way around. So we want to leave a nice long tail because we're going to sew the head on later on. And just pull that through. So we're going to stuff the body now as well. And here's how it should look. Moving on to the ears, we're going to do a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it again. Chain 1 and then do 5 single crochets into your magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then for round 2 we're going to do an increase and then a single crochet, and we're doing that 3 times over. So we're going to do that first single crochet, join our stitch marker on. As it was an increase, we're going to do it back into the same stitch and then 1 single crochet. So increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet. On to round 3, we're going to do increase and then 2 single crochets. So we're going to do increase, join that first one on, back into that same stitch, and then 2 single crochets, 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase, and then 1 and 2. This will feel a bit tighter than the other ones we've done just because it's a smaller round, and then we're just going to pop it the correct way around onto round 4. Going to do an increase, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets. I'm going to repeat that 3 times. That's 1, and then back into that same stitch, and then 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, and 3. So now for rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, for all 5 rounds, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So this is round 5, and we will be doing 15 single crochets because that's how many stitches are in the previous round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And I'm just going to speed this up for you because you've got the gist now, and we'll meet back at the end of round 9. And we are at the end of round 9. So what we're going to do is we're going to close the top, we're going to close the top of this ear by taking our stitch marker out. Fold it flat. We want to make sure all the stitches are lined up with one that is directly across from it. So as you can see, these all have a matching stitch directly across. If you was to put a line through it, you can see they're all right next to each other. So we're going to insert our hook into the next stitch. We're going to find the matching one on the other side and go through that one as well. As you can see, it's just a straight line. And we're going to single crochet through both sides. And we're just going to do this all the way until we get to the end. You should have around 7 stitches. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and into that last one, 7. So that's your ear closed. Again, we're just going to leave a nice long tail because we're going to sew this on at the end. So if you just want to rewind that, again, there's going to be timestamp, and I want you to make a second ear which is exactly the same. Moving on to the arms, we're going to do a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it for round 1. So we chain 1, that's our first stitch, and 5 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then for round 2, we're going to do 6 increases, so you have 12 stitches. So do our first stitch, join our stitch marker, second stitch, and just increasing all the way around until you have your 12 stitches. For round 3 and for round 4, we're just going to do 12 single crochets around. I have a knot in my yarn, but just ignore that. I'm just going to crochet over it. I cannot be asked to take it out right now. So we're going to do a single crochet, join our stitch marker, and we're just going to single crochet around in each stitch. So that is how I hide a knot when I'm being too lazy to take it out. On to round 4, again 12 single crochets, just single crochet in each stitch around. And we're going to turn it the right way round. Now we're going to move on to round 5. We're going to do 1 decrease and then 2 single crochets, and we're doing that 3 times. So we're going to do the decrease, we join our stitch marker on, and then 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then decrease, then 2 single crochets again, 1 and 2, then decrease, and 2 single crochets. You should have 9 stitches around, and for the next 4 rounds we're going to single crochet in each stitch around. So 6, 7, 8 and 9 are all going to be single crochet rounds. So this is round 6. And I'm going to speed this up for you, and we'll meet back after round 9. So we're just going to take our hook out. That is round 9 complete, and we're going to stuff this just a little bit. You don't want to put too much stuffing in, so just a little bit of stuffing, and it's more focused towards the end as well. So we're going to put our hook back in. Again, we're going to do the thing where we fold it and we want to match the stitches up, and we're going to go through both sides again. I'm going to do 4 single crochets across the top. You want to leave a long tail, and then you're just going to rewind this and repeat it again. Once again, there are timestamps in the description, so feel free to use those. We have our arms completed now, and we're going to move on to the legs. So for round 1, we're going to start off with a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it. As always, chain 1 as our first stitch and 5 single crochets into that magic ring. Then we're gonna then for round 2 we're going to increase in each stitch around. We should have 12 stitches by the end. Join our stitch marker on, back into that same stitch, and increase in each stitch around. Next, we're going to do an increase and then a single crochet 6 times over. This is for round 3, and you should have 18 at the end. So we're going to do our increase, back into that same stitch, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and we should have 18 stitches now. Moving on to rounds 4 and 5, they are both single crochet rounds, so we're going to do 18 single crochets, 1 single crochet in each stitch. So this is round 4. And I'm just going to speed this up for you. So with round 5 complete, we can just flip it around the right way around, and we're going to do 4 decreases for round 6 and then 10 single crochets. So we're going to do our first decrease, join our stitch marker on. So that was 1. We do our second decrease. This is your third one, and the 4th. And now we're going to do 10 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So altogether we should have 14 stitches. So moving on to round 7 now, we're going to do 2 decreases and then 10 single crochets. So we'll do our first decrease, add our stitch marker on, then our second decrease, and then 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If you want to count around, you should have 12 stitches in this round. So for the next 3 rounds, so for rounds 8, 9, and 10, they're going to be all single crochet rounds. Again, we're going to do 12 single crochets in each stitch round. So this is round 8. So I'm going to speed this up for you. Here's how it should look after round 10. You should kind of see that little foot shape forming, and we're actually going to stuff it just a little bit. Once again, you don't want to put too much stuffing in it. And then we're going to put our hook back in. And once again, we're going to fold it flat, match up these stitches. And we're just going to go through both sides. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So depending on where you did the first one, it might be 5, it might be 6, it doesn't matter as long as it's closed off at the top. Then we're going to cut a nice long tail, and we're going to repeat this again. Once again, timestamps in the description. So you should have 2 identical feet now, and we're going to move on to the tail. So we're going to do a magic ring with 6 single crochets in it for round 1. Once again, we chain 1 and do 5 more single crochets into the magic ring. And we increase in each stitch around for round 2. So you should have 12 at the end of that round. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. For round 3, we're going to do 1 increase and then 1 single crochet, and we're doing that 6 times over. You should have 18 stitches at the end. So we're going to start off with our increase. And that was 1, back into that same stitch, and then 1 single crochet. So we increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and we should end on a single crochet. You should have 18 stitches around now. So now we're going to do rounds 4 and 5 as single crochet rounds, so they're going to be 18 single crochets in both rounds. So round 4, and I'm going to speed this up for you. So that is round 5 complete. We're going to turn it the right way around. For round 6, we're then going to do a decrease and then a single crochet, and we're doing that 6 times over, and your stitch count should go back to 12 stitches. So we're going to start off with our decrease, add our stitch marker on, single crochet, decrease, 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 and then a single crochet again. I'm going to leave a nice long tail, and we will be sewing everything together now. So the first thing we're going to do is close up this head. So you want to go through the front loops, and you're going to do this 6 times around 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then you want to pull it slowly but nice and tight, and then I like to secure it with another knot just to make sure it's super safe and it won't come out. And then you can just insert your needle and pull out through a random stitch, and then you can cut this piece off. Then I want you to cut off a long piece of yarn because we're actually going to shape the face right now. So I want you to face it directly towards you, with this being right in the middle. So you're going to go in through the bottom and you want it to be right in the middle. So as you can see, I'm going to insert it here. Here's the front. You're going to come out just below one eye, and you're going to pull this piece, and that was my hook, and leave a nice tail there. Then you're going to go back in 1 stitch to the right, and you're going to come back out, back through that original one. So it should be like this. Again, you're going to go 1 stitch to the right. You're going to come out, but you're going to come out next to the eye, just below it. And 1 stitch to the left. And then we're going to come back out through that original stitch. So then what I want you to do is you're going to pull it slowly until the face starts to kind of smush together a bit. So as you can see, the eyes have sort of pinched together slightly. The mouth kind of has a little dent here now. With either tail, I want you to do a loop around and then go back into that original stitch. Then we're just going to do a double knot. I'm going to get both ends and we're just going to pull them through a random stitch. So I'm just going to cut them a little bit shorter. And you're just going to put that back through, and you want to pull it out of a random stitch. The next thing we're going to do is join the head to the body. So you want this shape to be at the front, you know, the part that's pointing out, you want it to be facing forwards. And we're just going to sew it just like this. So where that dip, can you see that part there, where we tied it off, you want to basically sew that round into the front. So you should have this sort of shape. So the way I like to do it is I like to go through the body with 1 stitch, and then make sure your head's in the right place. Also, if you're struggling a bit to just keep it in position, you can basically get a bunch of more of stitch markers or needles or literally anything that will hold the 2 pieces together. And you can basically just figure out where you want it to be. And just use these to keep it in place if you need to. And I'm just going to redo this one because I just needed it for that first bit. But as you can see, with that, then you can, as you get to it, you take it out and then you continue to sew around, but you know the head will stay straight if you use these like needles or stitch markers, whatever you have on you. So the way I like to do it is I like to go through 1 stitch on the body, and I would like to go through 1 stitch on the head. So again, 1 stitch on the body and then 1 stitch on the head. And I just do this all the way around. And for this final bit, we do a nice little knot. And just pull it through a random stitch. And you should have the head and body joined on now. Next thing we're going to connect is the arms, and we're going to sew these directly under the head, so right in that gap, just there. You want it to be just under the head, right where the body's been joined on. So it should look like this once the arms are joined on. So again, you just want to make sure it's right on the sides, one through the body and then one through the arm. One through the body, one through the arm. You can do a little knot once again. If you want to, again, you can go back through it just to make sure it's super secure, but I know this one's on quite nicely. Then we pull through a random stitch, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So here's how your arm should be looking with the body, and we're just going to cut off these two pieces at the back. The legs are joined between round 5 and 6 of the body. So I'm going to start on the right hand side. Again, we're going to check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you want it to be in between here, rounds 5 and 6. And as we did before, 1 stitch through the body, 1 stitch through the leg. That's one leg joined on. We're going to join the other leg again, same thing. You want to just line it up and do it on the other side. So the leg should now be joined on. We're just going to cut off those two pieces. So now we're going to join on the ears, and we're going to fold it flat, and we're going to go through both sides. Go through both sides, and we're going to put it just behind the arm, so roughly around there. And once again, we go one piece through the head and then one bit through both sides on the ear, and you're just going to go all the way until you feel like it's secure and it's closed up. Sorry, you just hit the camera. And I'm just going to go back on myself. And then in that last one, I'm just going to make a little knot. And then go back in and pull out through a random stitch. And then you want to do the exact same thing with the other ear on the other side. Lastly, we just need to add the tail. We're going to stuff it first before we add it on. And obviously we just pop that right there. And cut that off. And so you've got all your pieces sewn on. Now we're just going to give it some character. So the first thing we're going to do is get some double knit white yarn. I'm going to go through the side of the head, come up next to the eye, and I want you to come out just below the eye, transfer that through to the other side. You want to kind of try and match it up to where you you know, inserted it on this eye because you want it to be even. So you just pull that through and you should see that little shape come through next to the eye. Then you want to come out into the side and out through that original stitch. So then we just want to pull this nicely, you know, just we tie that off. Then we get some double knit black yarn. Again, we want to come in through the side. You want to come out slightly to the right of the eye because we're going to make it look like almost like eyeliner. So we pull that through there. You want to go back in roughly around here and again pull out that same stitch on the other side. And just guide that through. And once again, you want to do the same thing on the other side. So you just want to come out and then back out through that original stitch if you can't find it. And just then we're going to tie off that, but you're not going to cut it. We're just going to tie it off. And then with the long piece that you already had on your needle, we're going to go back in and we're going to start making eyebrows. So we're going to come out sort of in line with this eyeliner piece. And we just want to do a little tiny eyebrow just in the corner. And you know the drill now, you just want to match it up to the other side. You can see this little eyebrow. And just come back through that original stitch. And your plushie should have some eyebrows now. So we're gonna, as we know this is right in the middle, we're gonna go right through here with our white. We're gonna make a triangle. So we're gonna leave a little end and we're gonna make a little tiny triangle. Like this. And then we're gonna go across the top. So as you can see, we've got that little triangle that we need to fill in, and that's all we're going to do. We're just going to fill it in. In the actual picture, they fill it in horizontally. With this yarn, I know it just doesn't look the best, so I'm going to do it vertically. But if you want it to be just like the picture, then I would say do it horizontally. And you just want to guide where each strand goes and you'll get the best result. And then for this one, we're just going to pull out through the left because we've now filled in that triangle, and we're just going to go across the top and basically sharpen up that triangle shape again. we're just going to do one more strand over the nose. My needle came out just then. And I'm going to basically go back in through a random stitch at the top. And I just want to cover that little bit right there. Like this. With this piece, I'm going to pull it out through there as well. Because it's quite short, I'm just going to put my needle in first. Then thread it through. And then I'm just going to tie this off. And then we can just tuck that in. You should have your own finished bunny at this point. I would love to see how yours came out, so don't forget to tag me at raisa.art over on Instagram and TikTok.